Good morning. It is a cold Thursday morning here. It's about 5:30. I got the call yesterday that the Marauder is done. It's painted. So I'm going to try and beat traffic into Boston, which I should know better is never going to happen, but we're up and at it early anyways. Let's go get this thing.
Who could have predicted this? When we last left off with the Marauder, I was dropping it off for paint down just south of Boston, kind of where I used to live with a buddy of mine. They sprayed it in on Saturday. It is now Thursday, so they've had some time to let it cure and wet sand it and buff it. It is looking real nice. I got through Boston this morning with minimal traffic, not too terrible, but now we are heading back through. It is 8:30 and we are basically stopped. Good timing. At a stop right now. So I figured while I'm in traffic, I might as well talk to you guys for a second. To recap, we did the hood, the roof, and the deck lid because all of them had some sort of issue that was not going to be able to be corrected with wet sanding and buffing. I think that this car sitting outside next to a concrete plant for 8 years kind of etched into the paint, especially on those horizontal surfaces. Then we also did the passenger rear door because trying to correct some of those issues, I ended up wet sanding down to primer. So that was just a quick, spray and then blend that door. So 4 panels total. All of them look really good. I haven't looked at the car terribly closely yet, but I wanted to do that with you guys, but everything looks really good. It's UA Ford black, no metallic, so it should be a perfect match, and the rest of the paint on the car is really nice. And you guys already know that because we already did half of the paint correction basically, but I think the plan right now is, unfortunately, it snowed over the weekend, so the roads have some salt on them, so we'll see how dirty the car gets on the way home. They did wash it for me after they were done. There's still a little bit of like wet sanding, schmuck on there, but I will see how cold it is when I get home. If I feel adventurous, I will wash it myself outside. If not, maybe we'll take it to one of those, drive-through spray bays and at least get it clean enough where we can pull it into the garage this weekend and hopefully completely knock out the paint correction. It is going to be in the single digits tonight. Great time to turn the garage heater on and knock out some buffing and whatever else we need to do on this car. So you guys sit back and relax. I'm going to sit here and get angry in traffic, and I will see you guys back home where we're going to get right to work. Mass State Police. This is like the third guy on his Harley I've seen. 35 degrees out. You don't care. All right, guys, really quick break from the action to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, 3W Floor Mats. Here's the channel workhorse, my 2018 F350. I've been running the 3W floor mats in this thing for 6 weeks now. Have not cleaned the interior, done anything. Look at all of this dirt and stuff that these mats have collected. Look at that. Surgically clean under there. All of the mess was contained within the floor mats. Check the passenger side. Wife's been over here a few times. All of the dirt and mud and leaves and snow and salt and everything that you don't want ground into the carpet of your vehicle, the 3W floor mats are going to protect that. And here's my favorite part. Get them looking brand new again. Just a quick rinse. And just a quick wipe with a rag, and these things are gonna look brand new again. Let's install this thing. Snaps into place. Boom. Now we know that my carpet and my vehicle are going to be protected for years to come. Built with Vigor Mold technology, these mats are durable and resistant to everyday wear and tear, and are going to maintain their shape and quality over time. I absolutely love how they look. They've got these cool valleys and peaks and just a really cool overall design. Each floor mat is custom made using a 3D body scanner technology, so you know that the fitment is going to be absolutely perfect. So check out 3W Floor Mats. There's going to be a link in the description with a discount code. Get a set, protect your ride today.
Well, good morning. It is the next day. I'm out here bright and early, getting started on the Marauder.
Got this thing pulled in here yesterday, decided to start with something easy on my famous short lists that I like to do. Basically a sub list from the whiteboard. Here is what we need to get done on this car. hopefully almost all of this in this video. Started with an easy one. If you guys have been on the channel for any amount of time, you know that I'm all about original owner's manuals, things like that. Scored this whole thing on Marketplace, which I talked about in a previous video. And one of the original fobs that came with the car, here's the valet key, kind of cool. This fob was not working, broken, faded, whatever. But what I liked is that it was an original Ford part. Grabbed another one, went through the programming instructions this morning. We're good to go. So now we have three original Mercury keys, 2 working Ford part number fobs, along with our complete owner's documentation there. Love that stuff. Boom. Program key. Done. Easy. Now it's time to get to work for real, but I wanted to show you guys the results of the paint work. Starting right up here on the hood, I did wash this thing in the freezing cold yesterday just to make sure we were ready for paint correction. So we do have some water spots on the hood. Those are going to polish right out, obviously, but this is the original Marauder hood. If you guys remember the whole debacle, the hood arrived to me with the corners bent up and was not going to be able to fix those without painting the hood. So I bought another Grand Marquis hood that I was not super happy with. So once I realized I needed to paint the roof, the deck lid, and the door, I said, we might as well repair and repaint the original hood. So that's what those guys did. So I still need to clean up under here, but what is important to me is right there. Got our original sticker and VIN stamped on the hood. So now this car maintains all of its original body panels. Hood came out super flat. They primed it, blocked it, sealed it, painted it, laid the clear on nice and thick for me. And it looks as good or better than factory paint. Again, ignore all the water spots. We will take care of those. Moving up onto the roof, same thing. You guys remember I removed this seal or molding or whatever you call it to try and make it as easy as possible for those guys to make sure we didn't have any tape lines. Same thing with the molding here. Before I realized that there's a special tape that you can use that pulls the seal back. So in the rear, they removed the glass, did all the work on the roof, painted the roof, and then their glass guy came in and installed the new seal that I got from Ford, from Mike at Wallace Ford Parts. So I got a brand new OEM Ford seal back here. Important thing is no tape lines anywhere. This is a quality job that was done. You guys know on the door here, I pulled all this down so that they could get in there. See if I can get in this door here. Pulled all this seal down so that they could get in there. Super, super flat roof. No tape lines anywhere. Put up a quick before of what this roof looked like compared to now. We are golden. Just a quick polish will be good to go. This door, you guys remember, I sanded through right about here, so they just added a little bit of color right here and then blended all of this. It's Ford black. There's no metallic or anything like that, so we wouldn't have any match issues anyways, but, you know, no real color added here, just a little blend there, and then mostly just adding clear coat. We can finally put this piece of molding back on here that's been off the car for like 3 months. Deck lid, same thing. They had to take this thing down basically to metal. Same on the roof. That whatever was in there really etched down to the paint. I'm glad I didn't waste too much more time trying to wet sand and correct the issue. It was basically down to the bare metal that you know, it took to fix this. So now we can start reassembly. Got to put this door back together, get the molding on there, get the spoiler on, get these trim pieces back on. I got a whole pile of parts over there that we got to get to get back on here. Probably going to take a little while, so I'm going to quit chatting. We'll get to work. And then a little later, we'll talk about these things, which finished up, started in the last video and just finished them. Had to buy a new rivet tool because the two that I had already would not accept a 1/4-inch rivet, which was needed to rivet the door handle back on, but Harbor Freight took care of me. All this trim is riveted back on. All this is back in. The window track is bolted into the door. Also, forgot to mention, I tried my hand at wrapping this piece black, same as I did all the black trim on the Mercedes back in the day. I'm waiting for some more of this to show up, but I think I'm going to do all this trim black. See how it looks all blacked out. Inside, same thing, door panel back on, gave it a quick wipe. Mint. Ready to roll. All right, let's move on to these things. The spoiler, the trunk panel. Let's keep it rolling. Good morning. Next day, got a little bit done yesterday between, as usual, some other projects. Most importantly, the car is 100% back together. Got these trim pieces on, tucked in nice against the new rear window molding there. Spoiler's back on, rear fascia is back on. Got the emblem back on and also refinished. You can't really see it under the shade of the spoiler here, but got my paint pen out and refilled in the Mercury letters back here, which were really sun faded. Badge looks brand new again. Trunk is all cleaned up again. Our reverse lights work. Everything's plugged back in. Same thing over here. This door completely assembled. Got my molding finally back on the car for the first time since like September. Door handle works. Window works. Got this wiped down real quick. All the moldings are back in. 100% good to go. On the inside, had to get those trim pieces back in order to get the nuts that go on the back side of this in. Good to go. Got the whole car wiped down. We are basically ready to finish up this paint correction. Making progress on my short list here. Also, check this out. Boom. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you like the matte black or
just the raw silver. I'm kind of torn. I honestly, I'm leaning towards just the raw finish that we had before. It's like a textured silver. It kind of matches the texture of the valve covers. Let me know what you guys think. Easy to swap out, obviously, but man, that does look pretty good right there. What do we do? I don't know. So normally right now I would do the full or finish the paint correction and ceramic coat, but I've been dying to get into this interior. The interior of this car is one thing we have not touched on the whole project, and that's really because it's in great shape. Here's the driver's original Marauder front mat. These are, you know, big dollars, in good shape and hard to find. But the interior is basically perfect. I mean, it's a 30,000 mile car. The driver's seat, perfect shape, no rips. Same thing with the passenger. Dash is perfect. Door panels are perfect. Rear seat, obviously perfect. But it's just dirty, you know? It just needs a vacuum, a wipe down. And I think it's going to be really satisfying to see this thing basically looking showroom fresh, like we took a time machine back to 2004. So I think I'm going to switch gears, do the interior detail now. So it's done. When I finish, you know, when I wipe that last bit of ceramic coating off the car, we know that we're done. We don't have to go in the interior. And B, just give us some motivation on this early Saturday morning to see the interior done and transfer that energy to the exterior, bring this thing through the finish line. So we'll shampoo these carpets, at least the mats anyways, get the interior surgically clean. Then I think I'm gonna get this underside of the hood situated, give the engine bay a quick detail, and then we'll slam the hood shut, interior will be done. And then we can focus all of our attention on the exterior here, making this thing look so good. So let's get to work.
And tell me we didn't just get in a time machine and go back to 2004. Brand new Mercury Marauder, Kanye's college dropout, is in the 6-disc changer. Look at this thing, came out absolutely incredible. Interior is completely done. This is one of those projects where I figured it would take, you know, an hour or two, detail the interior. I took this one off the rails as usual. Carpets completely out, shampooed those, wiped down all the door panels. The door jambs from sitting for 8 years were absolutely disgusting. You know, something that if the doors are closed, you'd never see, but then you'd have all this perfect paint. Open up the door and you'd have these nasty door jambs. So I cleaned out all the door jambs, all the seals. Even went as far as polishing the jambs, the rear door jambs. They're absolutely massive and, you know, a big portion here. So I wanted to make sure those were nice and shiny. Gave the interior a good vacuum. Obviously wiped everything down with the Geon interior detailer. Even conditioned the leather seats. These things are ready for another 20 years of comfort. Shampooed the floor mats. These things look mint, good to go. Steamed the dash and any other interior parts that were high wear. This interior really was very clean when we started, but the car is a very high caliber car. It's 30,000 miles. I wanted it to be perfect, so we went through this thing with a fine-tooth comb, and it's mint in here. It still smells like a new car. The leather seats are perfect. Carpet's nice. Everything is mint, so it was worth it. And I'm glad I did it in this order because now when we wipe the last rag down the side of this thing, we know that the interior is done. We don't need to be dragging, you know, vacuums and extension cords and things through the door jambs, and we're just going to be done after that. So interior, check. Making good progress on this list. Up next, paint correction again. So the good news is most of the hard work is done. I've already done a full compound on the whole car. Really all that's left to do is the polish stage and then the ceramic coat. Of course, I'm going to be using Geon's line of products here. We've got the heavy cut compound, which we already did most of the car with. And then your regular compound with their cutting pad. And then this is mainly what we're going to be focusing on, is using their Q2M polish on a blue polish pad. That's going to remove any of the hazing left behind from the rotary or the buffer or your cutting phase to really make sure you bring out the top quality shine in your vehicle. I'm probably going to go through and hit the surfaces that have new paint on them or anything that and maybe any defects that we missed with the cut. So the compound plus and the purple pad. Once that's done, we'll go through the whole thing with a polish. Then we're ready for ceramic coat. right, many hours later, I'm done with the compounding process. Hit the hood, looking flat. Same thing with the roof. Did all this while this car was not up on the quick jacks yet, and got the deck lid as well. So we are ready for polishing. I've already done this fender, the hood, the front bumper, the grill, all that stuff. Just wanted to show you guys real quick. I've talked about this in multiple paint correction videos. Your cut phase or your compounding phase is designed to remove heavy swirls, scratches, oxidation, stuff like that. But this was a really good example I wanted to show you of the haze that it leaves behind. So right here, you can see this line. I've buffed, or polished, I should say, up to right here. And here's where it has just been compounded. So there's no major swirls or scratches or anything like that. But you've got this haze, and that disappears once we get right here, once we get to the polish section. That is what's left for, I don't know, another 60% of the car. So here's an example of a heavily worked Geon polish pad. We're using their polishing compound. It's going to get rid of all that haze. It goes on easy. It comes off even easier. Just got to finish this car out, and then we'll get to the ceramic coating. Finally, many hours later, especially if you include the first round of paint correction. The paint on this 30,000 mile Mercury Marauder is looking how it should. Straight, glossy, reflective, deep. Other adjectives that you could use to describe good looking black paint. That's what this is. Shoo! It's just the way that paint corrections go. I mean, I got a touch of OCD too, so if I see, you know, an imperfection that I missed the first time around in the polishing phase, I'll go back and hit it with the compound again. But she's finally looking good, which means it's time to seal in that perfection and protect it from future contaminants. And that means ceramic coating. All right, so for this round of ceramic coating, we are going to be using, of course, Geon's Q2 Pure Evo. Use this on the Lightning. It has sat outside all year and it continues to look fantastic. Bead water, just do all the things that a ceramic coating is supposed to do. Just a great all-around coating. Same Ford UA black that we're putting it on right now, so I expect similar results. I'm going to be using a couple of Geon's soft wipes. This is basically all you need to ceramic coat your car once you've done the many hours of paint correction and decontamination and everything else that is required before you actually do the coating. Actually, that's a good point. I forgot to mention, you guys saw in the B-roll, once you're finished polishing and correcting the paint, we had to go through with the prep, which is basically an alcohol solution that's going to remove any of the polishing compounds or anything that is going to prevent the ceramic coating from bonding. Now that we are ready, it's as easy as wiping on and wiping off. I like to use 2 cloths Geon towels are kind of cool in that they have this like imprint of their name there, so you can keep track of which side is your fresh side. I'll show you guys how easy this is. If you've already done the paint correction, this is like, you've already done the hard work. This is the easy part. This is a brand new applicator. It's included in the kit, so I'm gonna saturate it, and we'll just start with a small section to show you guys, but I'm gonna do something like this, and then we're gonna do a little basket weave pattern. We're just trying to get good coverage. Make sure we get everything on there. Now, every coating is a little different as far as how long you're supposed to let it flash for, and then take it a little bit further. Every coating kind of depends on temperature, humidity. It's about 55 degrees in the garage right now, so I'm probably just gonna wait a few seconds and wipe it off. If it was hotter, you want to wipe it off immediately, but follow your specific coating instructions. The Q2 Evo can be wiped off up to 10 minutes afterwards, which is good for a novice coater because there's a lot of coatings out there that if it doesn't come off, it's on there for good unless you machine polish it or wet sand it off. Now, it's as easy as wiping it off or leveling it. So I take my first towel, which I've marked with a little Sharpie. I put the first side down, which is the Geon side. Just wipe it off. You always want to go a little bit past the area that you started applying the coating. Just level it right off. Flip the towel. So there's your first towel. Then I like to come through with towel number 2 on side number 1. Get out your light and just make sure you didn't miss anything, because if it sits on the paint for 12 hours, like I said, then you're getting out the compound and the cutting pad again, and that's the only thing that's going to take off that smudge that you left on there. Boom, we're done. Now I just got to do the whole car. Then this Marauder's paint is done, and I think it's going to be worth it. This thing is sharp. It is 10:15 at night on a school night. But I'm determined to finish this thing tonight, so it's going to be a late one, but let's get to work. Probably going to be hard to pick up on camera, but look at the depth and clarity difference. A black car that's freshly corrected and coated versus one that has never had a buffer on it under my ownership. Don't worry, your time is coming. Oh, look at that. Anyways, the Marauder is done, coated, corrected, the whole 9 yards. Shoo! All right, it is way past my bedtime. This stuff just takes forever, but the end result is worth it. This thing looks absolutely incredible. Can't wait to do some before and after stuff from this car, from when I got it to right now. But man, this thing is looking sharp. It is looking mean. All black Marauder. Starting to look like it just rolled off the showroom floor. Nope, better. All right, I'm gonna hit the hay. I think in the morning, depending on the weather, heater's coming on. Depending on how cold it is,
we'll get this thing on the ground, maybe just for fun, slap some tire shine on this thing and just see what it looks like outside. There's still a decent amount of other little things to do, but this thing is so close to being exactly where I want it. See you guys in the morning. All right, next morning we are finally back on all fours. Threw a little bit of tire shine on, you know, just because, looking slick. Let's back this thing out and see how it looks in the balmy 8-degree weather this morning. Well, there you have it, guys. Completely paint corrected and coated with some fresh paint mixed in there. Matches perfectly, of course. Like I said, you know, Ford UA black. There really shouldn't be any issues, but you know, this thing was not really needing a full repaint, and I wanted to keep the paint as original as possible. And I'm glad I did, because man, does it look absolutely stellar. The stance is perfect. Lower down, the red calipers on those factory wheels. Love it. Interior, like a time capsule. Actually, I'm gonna get in here because my hands are frozen. It is so cold. Turn on our heated seat. But we are getting to the point where I need to start thinking about what do we do with this car next. The plan is to sell this one. I can't keep all of them. So the question is, how do we sell this? A lot of times it would go on Facebook Marketplace, which is always fun to deal with. Is it available? But as the channel grows, in the past builds, a lot of subscribers have purchased the build. So if this car is something you're interested in, shoot me an email. It's really hard to put a price on this thing because there's literally not another one like it. Low mileage or similar mileage red Marauder just sold on Bring a Trailer for $28,000, I think, so probably, you know, just under 30 after fees, but it was bone stock. It didn't have a fully built Terminator motor and all the other cool goodies that this car has. And I don't think the spec is as nice, but that's subjective. So I don't know, 30,000 original mile, clean title, 2004 Marauder with, you know, loaded up with heated seats and all that stuff. And then of course it's got a fully built Terminator motor, ARP, everything, head studs. It makes 430 or 40 horsepower to the tire and can do that for years to come. It's got some work done to the transmission, long tubes, all the bolt-ons. Now you guys have seen the build, so it's really hard to put a price on it. I've not found another one just like it yet, but I think it's worth in the mid-30s. So if that's something that you think you're interested in, shoot me an email. Or do we put this thing on Cars and Bids or Bring a Trailer or eBay? I don't know. Up for discussion, so let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna pull this thing back in the garage because we actually have an appointment at the tire shop. Still got a few things left to do to this thing. This is not the last video, so thank you guys for watching. If you're enjoying the Marauder content, give it a thumbs up. Catch you guys in the next one.